Hello and welcome back. This is a video over 9.2, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a little bit more graphing, but we're going to be doing this using the intercepts, okay? So what I want to do is first talk about identifying the x and y intercepts. So what I do, and let's write this out, the x-intercept, and I just call it the x-int, okay, is where the line crosses the x-axis, okay? And then for the y-intercept, it's where the line crosses the y-axis, okay? And so let's do this. Let's identify those. So what I want to do is take a look at my line here on this graph, and I have my x-axis here, and I have my y-axis, okay? And I have my graph like so. So what I notice here is that my, I have this line, and there's a point at which that it crosses the y-axis, okay? And I'm going to identify that point here, okay? This is my y-intercept, okay? Then if I look over here at this point where the graph crosses the x-axis, this is my x-intercept, okay? And the reason why we, look at these points is because at the y-intercept, at the x-intercept and y-intercept, there's some unique properties, okay? Let's just identify these points real quick. This is going to be the point 4, comma 0, and this would be the point 0, comma 3, okay? So those are the points that I have. Now, when we're graphing using intercepts, okay, we kind of touched on this in the last one, and what I want you guys to do is draw a little graph here, okay, and it doesn't have to be very specific, but I'm going to call this, I'm going to call it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay. All right, so what I want to do is kind of look at a few things. Let's talk about the x-axis real quick, and let's look at any point. I'm just going to identify a couple of points along my x-axis. Now, these points, would be the point, what would that be, -5, 0. This would be the point -3, 0, this would be the point, say 1, 0, this would be the point 3, 0, and this would be the point 6, 0, okay? Now, what you notice here is that at any point along the x-axis, the y value is 0. So, for all these points, the y value is 0 for all these points. For any x-intercept, okay? All right, now if I were to come over here and talk about, like, say, the y-axis, at any point on the y-axis, okay, let me just call this the point, say, 0, -4, this would be the point 0, 3, and the point 0, 5. Okay, so for an x-intercept, the x value is 0 for any x-intercept, okay? And so with that, what I have is this. The conclusion that I can draw is that to find intercepts, okay, for the y-intercept, for any equation, what you would do is you would let x equals 0 and solve for y. Okay, for any x-intercept, you would let y equals 0 and solve for x. Okay, and we're going to do that here in a minute. But the idea is that, you take all these ideas to find any intercept. What I know about that is that I know that, for the y-intercept, the x value is always 0. So that's what we do to find the y-intercept. we let x equal 0 in an equation, and then we solve that equation for y. All right. For the x-intercept, okay, what I have to do is I have to let y equal 0, because the y value at any point is 0, and then solve for x. Now, one thing I want to talk about, guys, is that when you're doing this, you have to create these, okay? Unless they're just given to you like they were on a graph. You know, to find them on a graph, it's really not too bad. But what I can do is just find the intercepts pretty easily. And that's what's kind of nice about the intercepts, is because operating with 0 is such an easy thing to do. So let's take a look at these few examples, okay, these two examples here. And what I want to do is just graph these, okay? Both of these equations are in standard form, meaning that the x and the y value are on the left side of the equal sign, okay? In the next section, we'll talk about, you know, graphing these in a different way. So, you know, on the first, you know, in 9.1, what we did is we just plotted points, okay? We plugged in values for x and we solved for y, okay? We can do the same thing we can graph the same equations, but just by finding the intercepts, okay? And it's actually pretty easy to do. So let's go ahead and just jump into that real quick. And here's my equation, 4x plus 3y equals 12. And what I want to do is do this. I want to find my y-intercept, okay? And when I'm doing this, just so that I know, I always write down let x equal 0 and solve for y. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is just do that. I'm going to rewrite my equation here, all right, but I'm going to plug in 0 for x and solve for y. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to do 4 times 0 plus 3y is equal to 12. All right, if I do 4 times 0, that's just going to give me 0 plus 3y is equal to 12. Okay, 0 plus 3y is just going to give me 3y, so we get 3y is equal to 12. I'm going to divide everything by 3 and 3. So then I get that y is equal to 4. So when x is 0 and y equals 4, what that does is it gives me my y-intercept, which is going to be the point 0, 4. And that's it. That's all we're doing. So now that I have that point, what I'm going to do is come over here, and I'm going to graph the point 0, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to put that point here, okay? And that's my y-intercept. That's where it crosses the y-axis, okay? Now I'm going to do the same thing for the x-intercept, all right? I'm going to so let me write this out. For the x-intercept, oops, okay, I'm going to let y equal 0 and solve for x. So this is what I want to do. I'm going to do 4x plus 3 times 0 is equal to 12. Okay, 3 times 0 is just 0, so I get 4x plus 0 equals 12. If I take 4x and add 0 to it, I'm still just going to remain with 4x, and that's going to give me 12. And then I'm going to divide by 4 and by 4. So then x is equal to 3. So I have this. I have y equals 0, and I have x equals 3. So my point that I would write would be the point 3, 0. And that's going to be my x-intercept. So I come over here, and I write in 3, 0, and that's it. Okay? And then I have 2 points on the graph, and I can draw a line connecting them. Okay? And it's a little bit easier said than done. Okay, I know I have a point there, all right, and then it's going to continue going in that direction, okay? So that's the idea. It may not be exact, but it's a pretty reasonable start to what we've got, all right? So now let's do the same thing for the next one, okay? And so let's do the same thing. All right, so for my let's do the y-intercept first. Y-intercept is usually my favorite intercept. That's just kind of weird, but, you know, whatever. All right, so I'm going to let x equal 0 and solve for y. All right, so what I've got, let me do this. 2 times 0 plus 3y is equal to 6. Okay, this is just going to give me 0, all right? And we can kind of skip that step if you already see, like, okay, if I multiply that by 0, it's just going to kind of just get rid of it, all right? And then you're going to be left with 3y is equal to 6, divide by 3, and so you get that y is equal to 2. So you have the point 0, comma 2, all right? And that's my y-intercept. So I come over here, and I graph that point at 0, 2, all right? And that's my y-intercept. All right, for my x-intercept, I'm going to let y equals 0 and solve for x. So, what was our equation? 2x plus 3y. So I'm going to do 2x plus 3 times 0 is equal to 6. This is just going to go away, okay? 3 times 0 is 0. And then we get that 2x is equal to 6. So I'm going to divide by 2 on both sides, and I get that x is equal to 3. All right, so x is equal to 3, y equals 0. This gives me the point 3, comma 0. All right, so now at the point 0, 2 and the point 3, 0, all right, and that's that point there. Now, what I want to do at this point is just connect those with the line, all right? And just do your best. Oh, my gosh. It's hard sometimes to do this. Okay. We go like that. So pretty easy to graph these points. And in my opinion, these are the easiest points to graph. So that's kind of why I, particularly use the intercepts a lot. All right, just because I know it's really easy to do. So, okay, let's talk over here about graphing vertical and horizontal lines. So on this one, I've got the line y equals negative 2. Now, let's just write here, okay? If it's y equals a number, okay, then that's going to be a horizontal line. Okay, horizontal line. Okay, if it's x equals a number, then it's going to be a vertical line. All right, and that's it. So that's what I got. So over here, if I've got the line y equals negative 2, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the y-intercept of negative 2. So y equals negative 2. I'm just going to go along the y-axis and find that value of negative 2. Then what I do is I'm going to draw a horizontal line through negative 2. And this is the equation, y equals negative 2. Okay? All right, over here, if I've got x equals 5, what I do, because it's x, I'm going to find my x-axis, and I'm going to count over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's my point. And I'm going to draw that point. It's going to be a vertical line through 5. Okay, and that's it. All right, let's take a look over here. If I've got 3x plus 12 equals 0, what I notice is that this equation does not contain a y value. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides. I'm going to solve for x. So I get negative 3x is equal to negative 12. I'm going to divide by negative 3. I'm going to divide by negative 3. And so then you get that x is equal to positive 4. Okay, so that's my equation. All right, I'm going to find my x value of 4, which is right, oh crap, 1, 2, 3, 4 is right here. Okay, and then I'm going to draw a line, a vertical line, through 4. Okay, and that's all we're doing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Maybe made things a little bit easier and a little bit more, able for you to understand. And the one thing I do want to come in here and do, let's label this as our y-intercept, and this as my x-intercept. Okay, I'm going to label this one over here as my y-intercept, and this one as my x-intercept. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully made things a little bit easier for you to do, easier to graph, and yeah, so if you got any questions, let me know. Holler. See ya. Bye.